Hey everybody, I'm Lewie Allen, international session guitarist and Yamaha artist. Welcome to my rig rundown video series. So in the next few videos of this series, I'm going to be talking about what gear I use on the road, what guitars I use, what amps I use, what effects I use. I've been using Yamaha music products for years, and I'm lucky enough to be a Yamaha artist. So in this rig rundown series, I'm going to explain everything about how my rig works live and studio, what sounds I like to use, what guitars I like to use. So this is my first video in the series, and in this particular video I'd like to talk about what electric guitars I use. I use a handful of Yamaha electric guitars, from Revstars to Pacificas, and guitars that were made for me from Yamaha's custom shop factory. So let's crack on with the first video about my electric guitars. So one of the electric guitars that I've consistently used over the years has been my trusted, tried and tested Yamaha Pacifica. There it is. So this one's not an off-the-shelf model. Again, I was lucky enough that Yamaha made this for me. Again, it uses pretty standard Yamaha parts, like the neck is something that you'd find off the shelf, so is the body, exactly the same woods and stuff. I've had different pickups put in this, two Seymour Duncan humbuckers, and it's got a coil tap facility here, so you can make them single coil. The little rhythm plinky sound from the track you heard earlier, that was the outer phase on the neck, so it's got that real stratty kind of honk to it, as well as the really kind of like, if you were going to do like a solo on the neck pickup, it's got that real Les Pauliness about it as well. So it's perfect for what I do as a session guitarist. It's got other little things like locking tuners on there that you adjust from the front. It's in one of my favourite colours as well, so I've got an amplifier in this colour scheme as well, and it matches that perfectly. So it's got a Seymour Duncan Antiquity in the bridge, and in the neck is a Seymour Duncan 59, and they sound amazing, like they sound so good. So I used this guitar as my #1 guitar when I played for an artist called Jessie J, and that gig was that was a bag of all sorts of guitar playing. I'd have to play Van Halen-esque guitar solos, bluesy kind of fingerstyle, straight up to kind of almost clean jazz tones, and this guitar delivered on every single level. So at that point in time, the Line 6 Helix wasn't really a thing. So I mean, this was probably 2009 to 2013. So I used this guitar into my pedal board with a few drives and sort of modulation and delays and that kind of thing. And then I used it into a head and cab, which was actually divided by 13, head and cab. So that was the sort of sound that I was using. Again, very similar to the piece that you heard on the intro there. You know, you can hear from that little piece there that it's capable of really soft kind of humbucker neck tones, really round, clean sounds. Again, to sort of scream and leads, which was the bridge pickup on like a Marshall-y type sound on the Helix, which is available from the Helix Marketplace. Download now, link in bio. But anyway, getting back to the guitar, it's got jumbo frets in it, rosewood fingerboard. I believe it's an older body on it, so it's super nice and lightweight. And yeah, this guitar for years and years was my absolute number one, and I still use it all the time now. It's just that other guitars have maybe been a bit more suitable for certain sounds. For example, Sam Smith, slightly more classic sounding, hence why I'm using the new Pacifica that Yamaha have given me, which we will get onto in a minute. But I still use this guitar for Liam Payne and a couple of other artists that I play with, and it smashes it out of the park every time. So yeah, that is my Yamaha Pacifica. A few years ago, Yamaha approached me to help them in the design process for a new electric guitar they were about to bring out. So at the time I went through and we discussed body shapes, pickup layout, neck feel, different woods. We discussed tons of aspects of what a great electric guitar would mean to a busy session guitarist. And through all that hard work that Yamaha put in, and all the feedback and advice people like myself gave them, Yamaha ended up bringing out the Revstar guitar. So looking back, I'm really honoured to have been a part of that process in designing that guitar, because it's turned out to be one of my favourite guitars. And since the launch of the Revstar, there's been always at least one or two Revstars that have been part of my touring arsenal. So the next guitar I'd like to talk about with that in mind is the Yamaha Revstar. So recently I've needed a guitar to play slide on. A couple of artists that I play for have just released albums with slide guitar on. So Sam Smith, for example, has a new track on their album called Kids Again, and it's got a beautiful slide solo on it, so I jumped at the chance to play that one live. I mean, I'm not the best slide player in the world. I used to play a lot when I was a kid, but then I heard players like Derek Trucks play it and just thought, I'm going to stop doing this now because those guys are just absolutely off this planet. But however, Yamaha were kind enough to furnish me with a Yamaha Revstar for the occasion. So this is the 502 model with the Alnico P90s. Now I really like these pickups for slide because they kind of keep that glassiness of the single coils and also have that thickness of a humbucker, so it's kind of perfect for slide really. So my point of contact at Yamaha is actually a really good friend of mine called Mark Kirkland. Relicked this one for me as well. I'm not sure if it was just a precursor because he knows all my guitars end up being bashed around on the road. But I actually really like it. I think the finish is amazing and they look great anyway. But yeah, I think the relicking on this certainly looks really cool for me. So it's a mahogany body and I believe it's a mahogany neck as well with a rosewood fretboard. So I play slide in regular tuning. I don't play in open tuning or anything like that, just purely because it confuses the hell out of me. I don't know how those slide guitarists can go from regular tuning to open tuning and their brain not melt. So I kept mine in standard tuning, just purely because where the action's a little bit higher, it's not so high that I can't still play like normal guitar with my fingers on it as well. I've not got too far to push down on the strings so that they'll go out of tune or anything. It's totally stable tuning wise. And yeah, it's got little things like locking tuners, which makes it great if I pop a string on it super quick to change the strings. And the Bigsby's super stable tuning wise, doesn't go out of tune if you like blow on the handle or whatever. So that's really usable as well. So with this, I'll have the helix set to like a plexi sound and kind of just really wind up the volume and the master volume to get that really fuzzy kind of. So that's what I tend to go for sound-wise. To watch the other videos in my Rig Rundown series, head to my YouTube channel and you'll find them all there. Also, like this video and subscribe to my channel for more cool content.